Welcome to Soul School and the teachings on Crysticism. So, what is Crysticism? Well, think of it like this. There's this hidden layer to our reality, right? A set of mystical mechanics that are always running in the background, influencing everything we do, even when we have no idea they're there.
Right, so the whole point of Crysticism is to bridge that gap, to connect our normal, everyday lives with these massive universal forces. It's a pretty wild idea, and it leads to a really interesting question.
And that's exactly the question at the heart of the story we're getting into today. It's about a teenager named Diesel. Now, Diesel loves rock music. It's his escape, his whole world. But lately, something's felt off. You know that feeling? There's this invisible weight to the songs, a kind of heaviness he just can't shake.
So this feeling, this unease, it leads Diesel to this old warehouse. And there, he meets a, let's say, mysterious figure named Tempter. And what Tempter does is lay out this totally radical idea about the music Diesel loves, a completely new way of hearing the sound that's been the soundtrack to his life.
Tempter's whole argument is basically this. Rock music isn't just music. It's a tool used by those hidden mechanics we mentioned earlier. He says it's a carefully designed force meant to weave all these negative emotions, rebellion, despair, right into the fabric of society, all to shape our beliefs and, distract us from something bigger.
And he gets really specific. Tempter argues that the actual frequencies in rock music, that chaos, directly lead to social decay. I mean, look at this list. He connects it to fostering materialism, breaking up families, and even claims there's a correlation with the rise in anxiety and depression in young people. It's a heavy accusation. So just as Diesel's head is spinning with all this, a blue angel appears and gives him a mission, a really clear one. She tells him, you can lead the charge against this. You can start a movement. The goal? Eliminate rock music and promote sounds that actually heal and bring people together. And he's all in. He starts a campaign at school, with hashtags like End Rock Harm, organizes peaceful rallies. He's turning this big, mystical idea into actual, real-world action.
Okay, so Diesel's movement is starting to get some real traction. And then, Tempter shows up again. And you're not going to believe this, he completely flips the script. He presents an argument that is the exact opposite of what he said before.
Suddenly, Tempter is arguing that the chaos in rock music isn't a flaw. It's the whole point. He's saying it's a necessary energy, a fierce spirit that kids need to smash a world that's trying to crush them. So now rock isn't poison anymore. He's framing it as a weapon for the powerless. And this right here, this is the core of Diesel's problem. You've got the angel's path, which is super clear. Get rid of the harm. But then there's Tempter's new path, and it's so seductive, right? Why destroy something so powerful when you could harness it for good? It's this huge internal conflict for him. So while Diesel is fighting this battle in his own head, the whole thing just explodes out in the open. A bunch of students at his school feel like his campaign is a direct attack on them. So what do? They form a counter-movement, and they call themselves the Rebels.
For the rebels, this isn't about healing frequencies or mystical mechanics. It's about freedom. It's about censorship. They're basically saying, hey, he's trying to control what we listen to, what we feel. So their response is to throw a massive concert. They call it Freedom Fest. And it's said to be a huge showdown of these two completely different ideas.
And all of this builds to the climax of the story. One night, two completely different events are happening across town. You can think of them as representing the two opposing frequencies in this battle for the town's very soul.
So let's just paint the picture here. On one side of town, you've got Freedom Fest. It's pulsing with this dense, hot, kind of addictive energy. You can almost feel it. And on the other side, there's Diesel's gathering in the park. It's got this totally different vibe. Light, open, hopeful. Two stages, two different vibrations. And they're both competing for the same audience.
And then, something really interesting happens. A few kids from the middle of that loud, chaotic rock show, they get curious. They hear the softer music coming from the park and just wander over. They're just standing on the edges watching. This is the moment. This is the hinge where these two worlds finally actually collide. And right at this critical moment, Tempter makes his move. He delivers his final and maybe most clever temptation. He whispers to Diesel, this is it. This is your chance to unite everyone. The perfect compromise. Just blend the two sounds. Give them what they want, but, wrap it up in good intentions. And Diesel, caught up in the energy of the moment, he takes the bait. He grabs the mic and suggests this middle path. He says, let's embrace all of it, the light, the dark, all our emotions. But listen closely to what he says next. His words take this subtle twist.
He starts suggesting they can just rely on each other instead of some higher conscience.
Yeah, but this perfect compromise? It's a total trap. The story makes it really clear that blending these frequencies doesn't raise up the dark stuff, it just corrupts the light. This so-called middle path, as you can see here, it does some really dangerous things. It normalizes destructive behavior, it makes people numb to injustice, and in the end, it becomes an even better tool for mind control, precisely because it seems so reasonable on the surface.
But then, right in the middle of the crowd cheering for this, false unity, Diesel has this sudden moment of clarity. It's like a switch flips, and he sees the two paths again, not as something you can blend, but as the stark, separate choice they've always been.
And this is the crucial point, right here. Path 1 is using sound as a vehicle for chaos and control. Path 2 is using sound as a tool for healing and real community. He finally gets it. There is no middle ground. The choice is one or the other.
But here's the thing. The story doesn't actually tell us what he chooses. It just ends, right on a cliffhanger. A voice, maybe his own conscience, tells him this isn't finished. You haven't really chosen yet. The decision is still hanging in the air.
And that brings this whole thing right back around to us, doesn't it? It leaves us with this final, pretty provocative question. It really forces you to think about the music you listen to, the energy you let in, and what invisible forces might be shaping your life through your own playlist. And why this matters is pretty clear. The frequencies we choose to tune into, well, they might be way more important than we think.